Hey y'all, what's good, what's poppin'? So for today's video, I'm gonna be showing y'all my updated everyday natural makeup routine. Now, I say everyday, I don't really wear makeup that much anymore. Just with everything going on, I don't want to be wearing too much stuff on my face. I want my skin to still breathe. And recently, I've been a lot more skincare focused. I haven't really been into makeup as much. But on the days I do want to look a little bit better, I want to look a little bit more presentable, I want to look a little bit more groomed, this is what I do wear. So I'm just gonna show y'all what I'm doing these days to give my complexion a little pick-me-up, make me look a little bit more groomed, put together. This is the type of stuff that I wear on a day-to-day basis when I'm gonna be seeing friends, taking pictures, just going out casual. So if y'all are interested in that video, keep watching. Before we get into it though, I just want to say thank you to all my new and returning subscribers out there. Thank y'all so much for being here and continuing to support my content and help me to grow my channel. If you haven't already, just be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button and click that bell button as well so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And with that being said, let's get into it. So my makeup look today is going to be very minimal. I'm only going to use a couple products, so it's going to be more of a pick-me-up. It's not going to be like a complete transformation. So on days where I want to wear a more natural makeup look, I mean every day really, but especially on days where I want to wear a more natural makeup look, my routine is very skincare focused. I want to have a nice healthy base to work with so that way I don't have to pile too much product on top, and that really helps me to get that nice seamless look. So I've went ahead and moisturized with this Skinfix Barrier Plus Lipid-Peptide Lotion. This is just a nice lightweight moisturizer for the daytime, and then I also went ahead and applied some sunscreen. So I'm just wearing this I Am Sorry Just Sun Cream. So that's what I've got going on the base. We're all nice and moisturized, ready to apply some product. So now for the complexion, instead of throwing on a full face of foundation, I really don't like doing that so much anymore just because I like my skin to breathe, like I said. And especially now having to wear masks and stuff, it can just get really messy wearing a full face of foundation. So I'd rather just spot conceal as needed. And I find if I use a full coverage concealer that's really close to my skin tone, that actually does a pretty good job for me instead of having to apply a full face of foundation. So what I've been loving recently is this Kevyn the Sensual Skin Enhancer, and I have mine here in the shade SX10. So this is what it looks like in the pot. So this is a nice creamy pot concealer. It's very thick, but it's very pigmented. You don't need a lot of product to get a lot of coverage, which is really nice. So you can really cover up some major blemishes and stuff going on without having to cake it on, which really helps with that seamless look. What I really like about the formula, in addition to it being full coverage, is it also contains jojoba oil and honey in it. So that helps it to moisturize and smooth the skin, and it helps it to mimic the look of naturally healthy and radiant skin. It doesn't break down or get nasty when my oils start to peek through though. It just kind of blends in naturally with the rest of my complexion. And it's also waterproof and long lasting, so it wears throughout the day. And if I do have to conceal some spots where I'm going to be wearing a mask, it doesn't transfer too much. It stays pretty well on the skin and lasts all day long. So I'm going to go ahead and take this e.l.f. concealer brush. It's just a really fine tipped concealer brush. The product says to scoop out a rice grain size amount and use it to cover imperfections, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that, covering up any blemishes or hyperpigmentation I've got going on that I want to conceal. So I've gone ahead and concealed all the blemishes and dark spots I have going on my complexion. I'm also going to go ahead and correct my under eyes a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take that same brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply just a very thin layer to the under eye area. So to buff out the under eye area, I'm going to take this Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I'm going to go ahead and just bounce the concealer into the under eye area and pat it in until it's blended in seamlessly. That's the under eye area all corrected. This formula blends in beautifully. I use a very small amount, so it's not going to have a huge problem creasing throughout the day, but it is still full coverage, so it does do a good job of correcting any darkness or any purpleness or anything like that going on underneath the eyes. For these other spots, I'm gonna go ahead and let them sit for a minute. I'm gonna let the heat of my skin warm up the product on my skin and let it sit for a second. That way when I go to blend it out later, the product's a little bit more set. It has even fuller coverage. That way it's able to really cover up these dark spots and breakouts I have going on, so that way they don't peek through. In the meantime, I'm gonna fix up my brows. So first I'm gonna go ahead and just fill them in a little bit. I'm taking this Roen Beauty vowBROW brow pencil, and this is in the shade Dark. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the spoolie side and just brush through my brows how I want them to lay so I can see what we got going on. And then taking the pencil side, I'm just going to warm it up on my wrist a little bit, and then I'm just going to draw some hair-like strokes where I want a little bit more fullness. I'm not going to go too crazy filling them in. I want this to be undetectable and natural, so I'm really just focusing on filling in my natural hair and just evening the gaps rather than trying to redraw a whole different brow. I'm just going to comb that through a little bit just to soften it up. And then to hold my brows in place all day, I'm going to take this NYX Control Freak Clear Brow Gel. I like to start from the back because that's where I find my hairs have the most problems cooperating, and wherever you go first with the brush is where you're going to get the most product. So I start from the back and work my way to the front, and then once I work the product through the brow, I just go ahead and lay the brow down how I want it to lay. Once it sits like that all day. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other brow. Now that the brows are done, I've gone ahead and let the concealer sit for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and buff it out now. So I'm gonna take this Morphe M173 brush. It has a nice dense brush head, but it's also very small, which I really love. It gives me precision. Really easy to go ahead and buff out the edges without buffing too much over the blemish itself. That way I'm not taking away any of the coverage. So the concealer blends in seamlessly with the skin, but my blemishes are still covered up. Alright, so now the concealer's all blended in. I'm just going to take whatever's left on the brush and I'm just going to buff it in to my nose area. I do tend to get a little red around here, so whatever concealer I have left over on the brush, I'm just going to buff that in to help cancel out the redness. So this is my complexion with the concealer blended out and my brows done. Honestly, if I'm feeling low effort, I'll probably just end it off here, but on days where I want to do a little bit of a pick-me-up, make my complexion look a little bit more alive, I'll go ahead and bronze up my skin a little bit. So I'm going to take this Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r bronzer, and this is in the shade Island Ting. So this is their powder formula. Y'all know I usually love a cream product, but if I'm going to be going out, especially if I'm going to be wearing a mask, I'll reach for a powder formula just because it has a little bit more longevity. It doesn't tend to lift as much and transfer as much if you wear a mask, so it lasts a little bit longer throughout the day. So this is what I've been reaching for recently when I want to go for that bronze look. So I'm going to take this e.l.f. airbrush stipple brush. I love that this has a nice tapered brush head like this. It really allows you to layer the product on bit by bit instead of going on heavy. So I went ahead and swirled the brush in the product. I'm going to just brush the excess off on my wrist. That way I'm not putting too much on my face all at once. And then I'm really just going to go ahead and bronze up the perimeter of the skin a little bit. Alright, sorry for the little jump cut, y'all. I forgot to charge my camera battery, but basically I went ahead and bronzed up the perimeter of my face everywhere where the sun would touch. So I went ahead and bronzed up the cheekbones, the forehead, on the nose, the chin. You want to make sure also if you're bronzing the face that you're bronzing the neck as well, so that everything is seamless and matches, and that way it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask or anything. And just make sure you really blend it out, blend out the edges. You don't want any harsh lines. And this is what the final result looks like. And then to finish everything off, I'm going to go in with this Jack Black Intense Therapy Lip Balm. I know it's not a makeup product, it's a lip balm, but during this time of the year, it's really important that you're wearing lip balm with the temperatures dropping, the air getting drier and all that. You don't want chapped lips. That's just not the look ever. And a good chapstick like this will really help to moisturize the lips, to help plump them up a little bit, to help fill in the lines a little bit, make them look a little bit smoother. But basically this is it for my makeup look. It's nothing too crazy. Went ahead and just corrected everything with some concealer, went ahead and touched up the brows a little bit, and then bronzed up the complexion. You don't need too many products to really make a huge impact and to really help pull yourself together and look a little bit more groomed. So this is what I'm doing on an everyday basis now. When I want to wear a little bit of makeup, you know, I want to look like myself, but better. I just want to look a little bit more put together, groomed, awake, healthy, whatever adjective you're looking for. I know I get a lot of comments on Instagram and stuff like that about how nice my skin looks and stuff like that, and I really try to avoid using editing apps like Facetune and stuff like that, but I'm not opposed to wearing some product to help make my skin look a little bit better than it naturally does. So on days when I am, you know, taking photos and stuff like that, and I do want to look better, or I just want to look good in general when I'm going out, hanging out with friends, whatever I'm doing, this is what I'm doing these days, and this is how it looks. If y'all enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful at all, be sure to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys liked about this video, what you disliked. Let me know if you have any requests for any future videos, so I can go ahead and keep that in mind when I'm sitting down thinking of ideas for what to film. Like I said, if you haven't already, just be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button and click the bell button as well, so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And with that being said, I should be back shortly with new content. Bye.